Imagine picking up your next iPhone, and it quietly unfolds into an iPad-sized screen in your hand. No iPad, no MacBook on the table. One device, one screen. That literally transforms depending on what you're doing. That's the promise of the iPhone Fold. And if you think this is just another leak and rumor video, stay with me, because by the end, you'll know 3 things most people completely miss: why Apple is taking so long, what the iPhone Fold will probably really look and feel like, and whether it's smart to wait for it or just upgrade your regular iPhone and forget foldables for now. You see the crease, you feel the crease. That might be okay for Android tech fans, but not for an average iPhone user paying over $1,500. Apple's whole brand is smooth glass, flawless feel, zero distractions. So what do? Apple has been quietly filing patents for foldable tech. Special glass layers that bend without cracking, hinge mechanisms that reduce stress on the panel, even ideas for displays that can heal tiny scratches over time with heat. Will they magically erase the crease? Probably not completely, but the bar is clear. The crease has to be less noticeable, or at least less annoying than what you see today. Because if you can see a big, ugly fold line every time your screen is white, no amount of marketing will make regular people love it. And that leads into the next massive decision Apple has to make. The one that could decide if the iPhone Fold is a hit or a flop. Is it an iPhone that sometimes becomes an iPad, or an iPad that sometimes fits in your pocket? Those sound similar, but they're completely different products. If it's mainly an iPhone, it has to be comfortable as a phone first. Easy to use one-handed when it's closed, a good outer display, not crazy heavy. If it's mainly a pocket iPad, Apple can go bigger on the inside. It becomes a dream device for reading, drawing, watching movies, playing games, but you might not want to hold it to your ear or type with one hand on the street. A lot of leaks and analyst reports suggest Apple's first foldable might feel more like an iPad mini that folds, something around 7 to 8 inches when open. In other words, not a cute little flip phone, but more like a book that becomes a tablet. Why would Apple go that route? Because that's where they can charge a premium and actually justify it. If they launch a tiny flip-style iPhone that just folds to become a smaller iPhone in your pocket, what's the point for most people? It's fun, it's nostalgic, but is it life-changing? But if they launch something that replaces both your phone and your small tablet, that's a completely different pitch by one device. Get 2 experiences. And it all syncs with your Mac and Apple Watch and AirPods, exactly like a normal iPhone. That's the story Apple knows how to sell. Now think about design. The outer shell will likely be similar to a Pro iPhone, brushed or matte metal frame, maybe titanium, with rounded edges that don't dig into your palm when it's thicker. The hinge is where Apple will go crazy. You're not going to see a noisy, rattly, obvious hinge. You're going to feel something tight, controlled, and quiet. No wobble, no random half-stops. It opens and closes with that soft, confident resistance, like closing the lid on a MacBook. And dust. That's a big one. You've seen videos of foldables dying because a tiny grain of sand got into the hinge. Apple will not ship this until they're comfortable with durability. Water resistance on a foldable is insanely difficult, but if any company will brag about it on stage, it's Apple. At the very least, they'll aim for normal life proof. Pocket lint, bags, desks, minor drops. But here's something most people don't think about. Software is actually the secret weapon here, not hardware. Android foldables are powerful, but a lot of their magic depends on whether apps are optimized for that weird tall outer screen and big inner screen. Sometimes you open an app and it just stretches. It works, but it's not beautiful. Apple has a huge advantage. They control iOS, iPadOS, and the App Store. Imagine this. You're scrolling Instagram or TikTok on the outer screen, you unfold the phone, and the app doesn't just get bigger, it rearranges itself. 2-column views, comments on the side, video up top, zero lag. You're writing an email, closed, it's cramped. You unfold, and mail slides into a full desktop-style layout with a sidebar, a message list, and your actual email in a wide window, almost like a baby Mac. You're gaming, closed, it's normal. Open, the game switches to a wider field of view with extra controls or a mini-map. Developers will absolutely do this if Apple gives them one great API and a big enough audience. And then there's multitasking. Apple has already experimented with split screen and floating windows on iPad. A foldable iPhone is the perfect excuse to bring a lighter version of that to a phone. Two apps side by side. Maybe a video call in a small window while you browse, dragging a photo from your library straight into messages with your finger. This is the kind of thing that can make the iPhone Fold not just a toy, but a real productivity machine. Now, think about cameras. Foldables can do something normal phones can't. They can use the best camera for both selfies and rear photos, thanks to that folding design. Picture this. You're on the outer screen, you open the camera, and with one tap, the phone tells you, flip me for best quality selfie. You open it halfway, use the rear camera, and the outer display becomes your viewfinder. Suddenly, your vlogs, TikToks, and FaceTime calls are all using the main camera system. Bigger sensor, better low light, better stabilization. Creators are going to love that, and Apple knows it. Now let's talk about the question sitting in the back of your mind. How much is this thing going to cost? Look at the market right now. High-end foldables are in the $1,500 to $1,900 range. This will not be cheaper. If Apple positions this as a Pro Max Ultra type of device, you're realistically looking at a price starting well above the regular Pro Max, around $1,500 and easily creeping toward $2,000 depending on storage. That sounds insane until you remember people are already spending $1,200 to $1,600 on iPhones, plus money on iPads. If Apple convinces you that one iPhone Fold can replace both, that price starts to feel less like a toy and more like a two-in-one investment. The catch is, Apple is not going to make this the default iPhone for years. At first, it will be a niche Halo product, a tech flex, a pro of the pros. So should you wait for it? If your current phone is dying and you need a device now, waiting for a first-gen Apple Foldable that doesn't even exist yet is probably not smart. Early versions of any new form factor always have trade-offs. Thicker bodies, some software bugs, more fragile parts, weird cases, limited color options. But if you're the kind of person who keeps a phone for 3, 4, even 5 years, this becomes more interesting, because when Apple launches a foldable, they're not just testing a random idea. They're signaling the future direction of the iPhone lineup. Think about the notch. First it was weird. Now almost every iPhone you see has some variation of that design language or a dynamic island. The first foldable iPhone might feel like a special device at the start, but if it succeeds in 5 to 7 years, folding or expanding displays might be completely normal in Apple's world. So if you like being on the front edge of where tech is going, the iPhone Fold might be the beginning of the next era, not just a fancy hinge. One more thing almost nobody talks about is battery life. A bigger inner display means more power consumption. A hinge means weird space inside the chassis. You can't just pack a big rectangular battery in there and call it a day. Apple has to get creative with shaped batteries, split cells on each side of the Fold, and ridiculously efficient chips. The good news is Apple Silicon is already insanely power efficient. The chips in modern iPhones are overkill for most tasks and sip power compared to what they can do. So an iPhone Fold doesn't have to be a battery disaster if Apple tunes everything around that experience. Imagine a day where you stay on the outer display for quick tasks and only unfold when you really need space. That alone saves tons of battery compared to running a giant display all the time. And when you do unfold, Apple will absolutely brag that even with a huge screen, you still get all-day battery life. If they can't hit that, they'll delay the product, period. So, pulling all together, the iPhone Fold, if and when it launches, will probably be a premium, expensive device at the very top of the lineup. More like a pocket iPad-iPhone hybrid than a tiny nostalgia flip phone, with a huge emphasis on a less annoying crease, a rock-solid high. And ridiculous software polish. It won't be for everyone on day one. But for people who want the biggest screen in the smallest space, who love watching content, gaming, reading, and doing a bit of work on the go, this could quietly become the best iPhone you can buy. Now I want to know, if Apple announced an iPhone Fold tomorrow starting around that $1,500 to $2,000 range, would you actually buy it? Or are you happy with a classic iPhone as long as the camera and battery keep getting better? What would make it an instant buy for you? A larger inner screen, a smaller outer screen, Apple Pencil support, crazy camera tricks. Share what you'd want to see, and if you want deeper breakdowns like this on the future of iPhone and Apple's next big moves, stick around, because this story is just getting started.